I'm gonna be walking you through everything you need to do to not only create the lead form, but make it optimized so that you can really drive quality leads and ultimately sales. Buckle up, we are gonna dive deep into Facebook lead forms, and I promise you this is probably the only video on lead forms you're ever gonna need, not just for the setup, but really on all of the steps of optimization. And stay tuned to the end, I'm gonna show you the single most important aspect of this form to make sure that you're getting those scheduled calls, you're getting those appointments, and you're getting sales that ultimately close. In order to first create a lead form, you're gonna need to go to the front end of your Facebook business page through Business Manager. There's gonna be a horizontal menu bar. Some of you may see the button Publishing Tools directly on that bar. Some of you may need to click the button titled More, and the drop down will then reveal that Publishing Tools button. Click that button and you're gonna be taken to a screen where you'll navigate to the left-hand sidebar. We're gonna go to Forms Library. And as you can see, I've got this little section of my own forms, but we're gonna click on Create. I'm gonna have the option to create a new form or duplicate an existing form. At this point, I would assume that you're gonna create a new form because your existing forms may not have the information that we wanna have. The next thing you'll do is to name your form. So I'm gonna call this Optimized Lead Form. In order to get quality leads from a Facebook lead form, there's gonna be several things that we need to do. Most people that have tried lead forms in the past often complain that their leads are lower quality or they can never get a hold of anyone, and there are definitely several reasons why that could be occurring. The first thing that you want to realize is that the Facebook lead form itself is a very easy, simple, and streamlined way for someone to sign up as a lead. The way that the Facebook lead form works is that it will remain entirely in Facebook as opposed to using something like a landing page where they're actually navigating off of Facebook to your own website. The problem with that process sometimes is that if your website or funnel isn't optimized for speed, it might take way too long to load for the average person to be willing to wait. There are two different types of forms that it's allowing us to select. The first one is more volume. More volume is the default, and this is typically what people are using when they're creating this form. If you kind of graze through all of the sections and just stick with the default, you may ultimately be choosing the wrong thing for your business. With that more volume option, there is literally a 2-click process. It will allow a lot of lower quality leads to come through. First of all, because they literally may have done it accidentally. The second reason is there's not a very strong commitment to the offer if they're not willing to necessarily go through a lot of steps. So there's still going to be great leads that come through. Some of them just may be less interested than maybe you would prefer they were. What I like to use is the higher intent option. The higher intent option adds a step in this form that allows someone to review their information before submitting. So we are adding an extra button click, we are adding an additional screen. I'm then gonna go to the intro section. And this is the background image at the very top of the form. You can use the image from your ad, or you can upload an image that will be there on every single ad, regardless of where they click from. I want to remind them what it was that made them sign up. I'm gonna go ahead and click use the image from your ad. Next, we have the greeting section. It's gonna give you the option for a headline that is 60 characters. It's also going to ask for a description, which can be in paragraph form or list form. Ultimately, this form is replacing something like a landing page that would have a really strong, well thought out headline and a very strong opening sentence, paragraph, or call to action. We need to take those same elements into this form. What I would do is use this headline as a way to really establish what it is they're signing up for and the benefits of this offer. Learn how to market a local business online profitably. The next thing that we have is the description. I'm giving them a reason to actually schedule that. If you have a really specific offer, such as 0% interest financing or buy one, get one free, you want to focus on that. The next section is going to be the questions. If you're using the standard, which is going to be name, email, and phone number, those are going to be auto-filled by Facebook. That is a blessing and a curse. It's a more seamless experience. However, because of that, people will tend to skip over it without reviewing that info. The email field is definitely one that is going to be incorrect more often than the phone number field. Phone numbers don't change nearly as much as email addresses do, and most people actually have connected their phone number at the request of Facebook prompts as a security measure. So what I would encourage you to do is always add the phone number. That is going to give you the ability to send them a text message. You really want to use text messaging and manual phone calls as your primary method of communication, because that email is probably going to be incorrect a significant portion of the time. That being said, I would highly encourage you to use some custom questions. This custom question is going to force the person on the other end to actually engage with the form. If they don't have to do a single thing besides click and click, it can be too simple. I wouldn't necessarily go overboard. We've added 3 or 4 custom questions at times. You can do multiple choice. You can do conditional, which I don't necessarily think we need to get into right now. You can also do appointment requests. However, the appointment requests are not necessarily going to connect to any actual booking system or booking calendar. I like the short answer option. The short answer question option is great because they're actually going to have to type something in. Anything that makes them really think about why they want to sign up. You also could add something that says, do you confirm to answer the phone when we call? And if there's someone who simply does not want to talk to anyone, they're gonna realize at that moment that this isn't a form that they need to fill out, which I feel like is very important. We really want to weed out the poor leads from the positive leads. After we've added our questions, we want to go down to the privacy policy. If you are focusing on text message follow-up, you have to have the appropriate privacy policy that covers your business and gives you the permission to do that. So it is going to require that you add a link to your website. You can add a custom disclaimer, but I would only do that if you are legally required to do so. Otherwise, it's really just gonna distract from the ultimate goal. Then we've got our review screen. There are no options to add here. You can see that their email, name, and phone number, they can review that so that if for some reason one of those things is incorrect, they can go back and fix it. The last page is for completion. It's got another headline, another description, a call to action button, call to action text, and then you have an additional option depending on what that call to action is. This is one of the biggest things that people make mistakes on. Usually they're saying something like, visit our website to learn more, or something that's totally irrelevant to getting this lead to the next step. The headline that I'm gonna use is, wait, you're not done yet. Click the button below to schedule. I also like to use emojis in these forms. It can be really effective because it's a little bit different and it just draws the eye. Depending on what it is that you're actually getting them to opt in for, we want to tell them why there's another step. I don't want to give a ton of details because all that I care about in this moment is that button. We're going to change the call to action text from view website to click here to schedule now. And then we are going to add our link. And this needs to be directly to the page with your calendar that they can select a date and time to book. Don't send them to the first page of your funnel. You already have their information. You now need them to take it a step further and schedule on their own. If you happen to see any errors on the final page, click on those to address them. Finally, you're gonna hit Save Draft if you do wanna go back and double check that all of the options or links in your form are correct, because after you publish this form, you can no longer go back and edit it. You can duplicate this form, but it will be a totally separate form. Having to duplicate an existing form actually adds other steps and does increase the likelihood that you'll make a mistake and that leads will not be delivered, which is a big no-no. If you want to check out the settings to the right, you can. If you are wanting to reach people that are in a language other than English, this is where you can do it. You also can add your tracking parameters, which is really great if you have additional forms, so you know which form is producing those leads that are ultimately converting. The field names can be changed if you need them to be changed, but typically it's not something that we're ever using. You also have the ability to have open forms, which means that anybody can see that form. Otherwise, the only people that are really going to be able to see it are those that you served an ad to. So from here, I'm just going to hit publish. Then you're going to see that show up in your forms library, and you'll be able to use that in your ads. If you happen to save it as a draft, it's going to be in the draft library. After you've published a form, it's ready to be used in an ad with the lead generation objective only. This is the only objective that allows you to use the lead forms, so make sure that's what you select if you are looking to use the form you just created. The last thing that I want to really reiterate about lead forms is that they will not automatically notify you when you get these leads. If you go to the leads setup section, you can actually find your direct CRM depending on what you use so that it will automatically notify you. You also could connect it in something like Zapier, or if you use a program that has a direct connection to lead forms, you can set it up that way. But you have got to have a notification that's coming to you immediately, and I would say through email and text message, letting you know when a lead has come in. If you can do that correctly, these can be amazing leads, and you don't necessarily have to create a funnel for every single offer that you want to promote, saving you time and allowing you to do more in your marketing. The next step is to now fully understand where lead form ads are best used in your ad strategy. So click here, watch the video where I break down the 3 different types of ad campaigns you should be using and why.